Hello everyone, and welcome to another Attack on Titan manga read along. Today we are reading from volume 27. We are nearing the end. Let me just see here. Have I posted my 105, 106? Oh no, the last one I posted was chapter 102 to 104. At this point in time, tomorrow night I'll post the 105, 106, and the night after or after that somewhere I'll post this one. But I will, by the time we get to the third, I will be done. The problem is, though, that's not the problem, but I heard there's only, not I heard, but it's been confirmed, there's only one episode, and then we have to wait again for the next episode, which is like both like an hour long. That's really sad to me. I want more. But luckily, I still have a lot of manga to read. So let's go. The first chapter that we're reading today is called Visitor. In the live chat, we have Sotos and Vert talking about who is a better character, Kazuha or Sucrose. It's good to have both so you can use one on each side. That's why I use Kazuha sometimes. It makes sense. I think Kazuha is better because I have C2 Kazuha. Oh my god, yeah, holy poop. C2! No wonder. I'm gonna build my Kazuha, I'm gonna build my Sucrose, and like I said, I'm gonna play with both. We'll see who has the better artifacts, blah blah blah. Who is the more easy to use play style? Who incorporates the best into the team? I can't wait. I'm going to call that video for Sotos and Vert. They should have just done a movie and instead of 2 episodes. I agree. I would have liked a movie, but on the other hand, with a movie, if it was going to air at the cinema, it's a bit difficult with movies because it comes out in Japan first and like a lot later usually it comes out in everywhere else, right? But Jujutsu Kaisen didn't happen like that, and Demon Slayer, I don't know. Either way, I just wanted more. But like I said, we have manga, so it's fine. In the live chat, we have Meow, Vert, Hunter, Modru, Sotos, Dark Shadow, Cell. So hello everyone, welcome. Please enjoy reading with me. Starting with chapter 107, Visitor. Hanji. Oh, this is great in the anime because of Hanji's voice actress. What are you doing? Were you talking to that mirror? Hey, you were just talking to your reflection in that mirror, weren't you? You told yourself to fight, right? You said fight? Fight. You said to fight twice. Fight what? If you said to fight twice, does that mean it's a 2-round fight? I'll never get it if you don't speak up. I don't think it's normal for people to talk with no one else there. At least I've never struck up a conversation with my reflection. Yeah, if Hunt is starting to tell you you're crazy, you should be worried. That's what I think. Can I just, before we read this chapter, I want to mention one of the worst and most annoying parts of reacting to this show was this scene. As much as I loved Hanji's voice acting, people were like, when Eren said what Eren said, people were like, haha, to me. And I'm like, what? Because Eren said it and it's not true? You don't think a main character can be wrong about something or kind of made a mistake or anything like that? No, that was like some big haha moment, like it proved something. I was like, okay. I was very annoyed with the fandom at that point. Well, a portion of the fandom was like, okay, like, yeah, that proves your point of genocide is the best. Okay. Anyway, I think that hairstyle looks good on you. It's messed up, like you're trying to say you're working too hard to bother fussing over it. What are you doing here? What do you mean? I'm here to talk. We spent all night talking about the Titans the first time we met, didn't we? You listened to me, talked on and on. I always knew that you wouldn't stop. Huh? You listened to me talk on and on. That's Hanj saying that. And then is Eren saying, I always knew that you wouldn't sacrifice Historia 2 years ago, the day of the welcome ceremony in the harbor. Oops, I don't know why I have still in this. 2 years ago, the day of the welcome ceremony in the harbor. I haven't seen you since you lifted our entire ship. I look forward to working with you. No, he'll never come in contact with any of you again. This brief meeting is as far as we will go. That's plenty. That makes today an auspicious day. After all, the port is complete, and we're welcoming our first foreign visitors. I'm interested in this because I feel like maybe there were some details that I overlooked in the anime or forgot about. From the one nation in the world friendly to Paradis, Hizuru. Their ambassador on this trip is Kiyomi Azumabito. She has significant influence over Hizuru's foreign affairs, which she uses to maintain strong historical ties with other nations. She's the head of her clan. Does her face resemble your mother's? It's just like I told you. You two are blood relatives. International relationships are extremely interesting. And people often make it sound like, well, people only have their own interests, blah, blah, blah. And that's like, okay, but it's also kind of, if you operate knowing that and not being mad about it, I think everyone could make better decisions together. Because every person with these international relationships, negotiations, they are like responsible for so many people, you know? And not just their people, but like individual people, but their legacy, their culture, they're like, you know? You want to preserve that, you want to encourage that, you want to share that, but not lose it. Da, 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 da. So these are definitely complicated types of dynamics at play, but I don't know, I feel like people are often to get, because I get it, some people they want to take advantage, so you got to be smart, but I also don't think it's good to go to these things expecting to be like, you're selfish and you just want what's good for you. Like, of course they want what is good for them. Don't be naive and let them screw you over, but also don't take that away from them. Like, they have people they're responsible for. Anyway, I'm talking more about like just thoughts from real life and not about this, so let's continue. Do you recognize this family crest? Show her, Mikasa. But mom said to keep this a secret. This is pretty ridiculous to me. Like, not ridiculous in a bad way, ridiculous in like a shocking way. This was hidden from us all this time? Whoa. Like, I should have read the manga, looking at her, seeing if there was ever a moment where her wrist was exposed to the point where we should have seen this. I bet other people did that. Did he ever slip up? Was that ever exposed? Or did she always wear long sleeves? Or bracelets or something? Scarves around her wrist. Before she died, my mother gave me this mark. She said she had it too, and she asked me to pass it on to my own children. What a noble act. It's seen on the beach. Totally went over my head. Didn't even, just now remembered about it. Just now. About 100 years ago, Hizuru's shogun was an ally of the Eldian Empire. We in the Azumabito family trace our lineage back to his son, who was on good terms with the Fritz royal family and visited here. After our defeat in the Great Titan War, Hizuru lost standing in the world. Then, though I am unsure of how it happened, amidst all the confusion, the heir left a child behind on this island. To think, 100 years hence. So wait, the child would then be her grandmother or her mother. The mother was too young, because 100 years, it would have been the grandmother or the great-grandmother or something. depending on how young they died and had children and stuff. 100 years. Might even be like 25 plus 25 plus 25, you know, might be more. I don't know. Maybe her mother, I don't even know. Her mother looked about in her early 30s. I can't guess with anime characters, but so maybe if it's the child 30 years later, the child that was left by the guy, the son, then the child's child, 30, then Mikasa's mom, then no, I don't know. No, there had to be one more. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm finally meeting you. 100 years hence, I'm finally meeting you, the one person with Eastern blood on this island. One person? What about Levi? What about Levi? Levi doesn't have the thingy, but how are they connected? Maybe there was 2 kids and they were separated at one point, somewhere along these lines. Wait. I need the notes. Okay, so there must have been a group because the robber said her mom was pure Asian. But I think Asian people might have been left here, but Mikasa specifically from, because she has the crest. So she might not just be Asian, she might be from that family specifically. The Ackerman are father's side while her mother's side is Asian. I don't understand. Ackerman is father's side. Oh, the man he married, she married, her mom married, was he Ackerman? But then how's Levi and Mikasa? Is more revealed later, because then I think I should just wait before I think too far on this stuff. You are the descendant of our nation's lost lord. You are Hizuru's hope. Then she drinks tea. If what Azumabito said is true, that makes you pretty powerful in Hizuru, right? Don't ask me. You're the last savior of this nation's top family, right? I think Levi took the worst deal. Mikasa is tall and it's kind of unfair. I still don't get what a nation is. If it means we can exploit Hizuru, we've got to use this. Wait, what is this? Wait, what if this is a trap? I really think we should ask Yelena. Oh yeah, trust Yelena, that's a good idea. No, that would be exactly what our enemies want. We're sure of one thing. In this world connected by the seas, we are but a little tottering child. Let's stay quiet and just listen for now. Yes, I said that. I said that, so the father is Ackerman and her mother is Asian, so she married him, but I still don't understand how Levi is connected. That's what I said. And then I said, if anything more is revealed later, I think I'll just wait for now. I don't know if there was a delay, but I did say that. That much I get. We embarrass ourselves making our guest wait. Hey, why'd you only show the ear in that mark? I mean, you never showed that bandage around your wrist to anyone. That's, you seem happy. That's because I am. You've also had to shoulder a heavy burden because of your birth. I couldn't ask for a more perfect match than you, Mikasa. You're happy that she suffered as well? I guess. Oh, I'm happy someone can relate to me. Look at him smiling at oh, he's smiling at them. I thought for a moment that was Mikasa and he's just smiling at Historia, and then my jealousy kind of flared up there. Simply seeing that you are alive and healthy is enough to fill me with gratitude. But going forward, please know this. The Azumabito will always be waiting for you. This is a historic day for both of our nations, and this day never would have come if not for the man who brought us together. We heard about the descendant of our Shogun clan on Paradis and met in secret with the source of that information, Zeke Yeager. You should know that he asked us to agree to certain conditions before he would introduce us. My mother was a surviving member of the Fritz royal family. In other words, there's royal blood in me as well. Throughout the time I was captain of the warriors, I hid this fact from the Marleyan army. Why would you if you were loyal to Marley? Because since I was a child, my true loyalty has been to my father's dream. I am the true Eldian restorationist. Restore them to their graves. Is nothing. I'll read that, but first tell me if there's nothing else revealed later. Because otherwise I just wait. But yes, I sold out my mother and father to Marley. Though I was only 7, I realized quickly that the Marleyan authorities were closing in on the restorationists and their leader, my father. I was certain that if I did nothing, my entire family would be sent to heaven. My parents and my grandparents and myself with them. That is why I took the actions you allude to. My parents were right, but they were naive. I realized the restoration of the glorious Eldian Empire would never be achieved by their band of complacent jokesters. That's a bit rough, but okay. I left my parents and rose to the ranks of Marley's army. I laid waste. They are no more focused on Mikasa's family. That is sad. Okay, I'll read. Levi is wait. Sometimes I need to draw myself a picture because I can't just think the words and it doesn't make sense. Okay, Levi's, oops, I spelled it Levi. Levi's mom is Kenny's sister. Kenny's sis. They're both from a branch. Mikasa's dad is from second branch. How did you know this? Did you just figure it out? Is there a data book? Mikasa's dad is from second branch of the Ackerman family. Branch. Mikasa and her dad. And here is her mom. I didn't do that right. So to read looks like this. Mikasa's mom is Asian from the Shogun heritage. He probably had servants and entourage. Oh, it was said by Kenny's grandpa? I read the manga. I remember him talking to his grandfather. I don't remember these details. So Levi, their surnames are the same, but he's not Asian. But they look the same. Okay, but all anime characters with dark hair look the same, so I like this. So Levi's mom is an Ackerman and the dad is an Ackerman and she is Asian. Okay, so there's the surnames have in common, not the heritage or... In season 3 in episode 6, Kenny tells his grandpa. I remember them speaking because he was like asking him on his deathbed. He found the branch are living in Shiganshina. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what makes the Ackerman special? Maybe we'll figure that out later, because I feel like there's still, because we're learning more about one side of Mikasa's history now, but we still don't know. I don't remember learning more about Ackerman history. Oh wait, the Ackermans have. Oh yeah, I remember now. The Ackermans have the. But how or why? Why were they special? Like, why weren't they? What's the word? Couldn't they be controlled? You read that in the past chapter. It said they are modified Titan science. Oh my god, magic. So then maybe they're from a clan that did sciencey things in order how to be immune. But so are they special Eldians? Are they still Eldians? Okay. I realized the restoration of the glorious Eldian Empire would never be achieved by their band of complacent jokesters. I left my parents and rose to the ranks of Marley's army. I laid waste to the island I was meant to save and continued to slaughter the Eldians. Mm-hmm. I did it because I knew Marley's plan to retake the founding Titan would mean I can't believe this stuff, because he was like, we heard his thoughts while he was doing some of the stuff, and it didn't sound like someone who was forced to do it because for their, I don't know. No. His plan, we know his end goal. We know. I did because I knew Marley's plan to retake the founding Titan would mean the restoration of Eldia. Because Marley never knew I had royal blood in my veins. I mean to say, Marley has no idea what will happen when a Titan of royal blood comes in contact with the founding Titan, and I know that even now, your homeland. What? As you have surmised, I am indeed here to seek the heir to our Shogun's clan. Yet, if the restoration of the Eldian Empire put the world in danger, we could never stand by and watch. I may one day be compelled to confess the details of this meeting to Marley. I regret the result would likely be the same were we friends of Paradis to be wiped out. I regret the results would likely be the same were we friends of Paradis to be wiped out. I of course understand that, Lady Kiyomi. I would not bring this proposal to you if it did not benefit the nation of Hizuru as well as your family. First, please take a look at this. How did... This was a top secret Marleyan project, yet you already knew? This vertical maneuvering equipment is a Titan killing weapon developed on Paradis. Don't worry, I did not take this piece out of Marleyan custody. I procured this on my own. Consider it a gift. But know that you'll need a special kind of fuel in order to make this weapon work. They call it ice burst stone, so that's really important because that's the resource. And that's what most wars end up being about in the real world, right? The resources. What cause most wars? Economic, religious, yes, religious reasons. That's also a really big one. I forgot about that. The 8 main reasons for war. Economic gain. One country's wish to take control of another country's wealth. So does that come down to resources? Because it doesn't have to be gold, physical wealth. It could be resources. Such as gold, silver, or livestock, such as cattle and horses. In modern times, resources that are hoped to be gained from war take the form of things like oil, minerals, or materials used in manufacturing. Historical examples of war fought for economic gain, blah, blah, blah. Territorial gain, religion, nationalism, But doesn't that nationalism that just come down to attempting to prove that your country is superior by violent subjugation? Which wars were just solely about we are better than you? Doesn't that usually come down to religion or ideology or something? The World War I, loyalty and patriotism drew many countries into this conflict, which was the largest conflict the world had known at the time. Italo-Ethiopian War. Benito Mussolini rose to power in Italy on the promise that he would restore national pride. Oh. Seeking, but how? To do, and what, how? By getting resources, by getting territory, by fighting people who don't have the same religion, seeking to salvage Italian prestige after a previous defeat in Ethiopia. So it was kind of like revenge, like, oh, you beat us, but now we'll show that we're actually great and we'll beat you. Seeking to salvage Italian prestige after a previous defeat in Ethiopia, Mussolini's troop gained full dominion over the Horn of Africa in 1936. Then revenge is a whole separate reason. Some of these overlap. Civil war inside the one country. Revolutionary war to overthrow bad leadership generally. Defensive war, if someone is attacking you, you defend yourself. Okay, interesting. So we continue. They called it ice burst stone. Very little is known about it since it has only been mined on Paradis. There have long been whispers about it. They say that the king of the Titans dug giant holes on Paradis and stockpiled treasures created by the power of the Titans. Burning stones and glowing stones. Meh, Mussolini tried to beat us. He miserably failed, says Sotos. While they must be small, there are surely traces of this iceburst stone within that weapon. I doubt that the people of Paradis have any idea of the true value of this resource, but your nation does. This information should tie Hizuru and Paradis together. But she was already looking for Mikasa, but now it's just there's another thing that makes it even more, gives them more of a reason to back Paradis, despite having to go against the rest of the world, right? Or am I understanding that wrong? We help Zeke with his plan to return to the island, and we gain an industry strong enough to return our nation to its former glory. That was his proposal. Of course, he hasn't even surveyed the reserves. However, if he speaks the truth, this power that sleeps on your island could change our world. Oh, I should reassure you that this has nothing to do with our conglomerate's recent expansion plans. That is such an unrealistic, yet maybe a necessary... Like, really? She drooled thinking about that? Really? Or was it... Like, you know how sometimes... For example, I watch Friends, right? And sometimes I think characters' reactions are exaggerated to drive home a point so that it's more obvious to the viewer. And I think that's what's happening here. So it's like something that, well, it happened, but don't take it too seriously because it had to be exaggerated to drive home a point. I'm thinking that might be the case here, but oh my God, she drooled. It just doesn't come across as, you know, everyone needs, like I said, everyone has to have their people's best interest at heart. There's nothing really bad about that, depending on how you go about it. But this makes it immediately seem, it puts it in a negative light. It's not just about what's best for our people, and we have to put that first. We want to help you, but, you know, mutual benefit. This just looks greedy and gross. In the anime, they changed to a licking tongue. That's more... because of the movement and like, I hate it when characters do that, but it drives home the point better without looking like just or huh? The ruling really. My goodness, how unseemly of me. So was I just an excuse? Yelena did say, excuse me, the negotiations would go well because the Azumabitos are money grubbers. How racist of Yelena to say that. Oh no, it's not racist because it's specifically the Azumabitos, not all of her people, just her family. I suppose no one would risk coming to this island if not to take money after all. See, like, it's a fair thing to expect. Sort of, you want mutual benefit. They can't risk their own people and everything for nothing. You'd want that. That would be the most just thing to do, but she's responsible for all the people, right? Or she has to take them into account. But like I said, with that the ruling, obviously it's not in a nice way, like, oh well, we have to take care of ourselves first. No, this is money grubbers, as it says. So what were the details of this arrangement you made with Zeke Yeager? As you know, Zeke Yeager claims to have a secret plan. This plan is supposed to save Eldia and the world, but it requires Hizuru's mediation. It's one of the 3 ingredients needed for the earth shaking to protect Paradis. The rumbling. The first is a test of this earth shaking weapon. You must show the world its destructive potential by unleashing it in part. We saw. Next is Hizuru's mediation. Our goal will be to raise the military strength of this nation so that you will not have to rely solely on shaking the earth. Introducing the latest weapons to the island is not a difficult process in itself. However, establishing a modern army requires creating a firm base of national power. Education, economy, diplomacy, and population. You are 100 years behind the rest of the world. You won't need the full 100 years to catch up, but it will surely take at least 50. In other words, you must use the earth shaking to protect the island for 50 years. You must always possess the founding titan and a titan of royal blood. This is the third element. Zeke will pass down the beast titan to one with royal blood. And that person must spend 13 years they have left bearing as many children as possible. It's a difficult plan. Will it really end in 50 years? No matter what else might be developed, the earth shaking is an immensely powerful weapon. If we must depend on it, the danger of assassination would follow these heirs to the royal family down through the generations. From parent to child, just like the race family, again and again. Yeah, that's no way to live. Just because it saves us now, does that mean we should leave our children in a lose-lose situation? Of course not. There's no way this could be allowed. And yet, very well. I will agree to inherit the Beast Titan, so long as the earth shaking is necessary to our continued existence. Historia. No, that was Eren, and that was Mikasa. Historia. If it means paying for our lives, with broken walls, trampled land, and children bred and killed like livestock, I will absolutely not accept Zeke Yeager's. Wait. If it means paying for our lives, with the broken walls, trampled land, and children bred and killed like livestock, I will absolutely not accept Zeke. You don't want trampled and children, trampled land and unfair situations for children? Are you sure? It's dangerous to entrust our fate to the potential to shake the earth. Wouldn't it be better for us to use all the time we have left to consider every option possible? Yes, you need not rush to a decision yet. and we will continue to help mediate between you and Zeke Jaeger. We hadn't found another way yet. Yes, Zeke's time was almost up, and Marley was moving forward with... Wait. What about when... The jumping around of time is confusing me. You remember that chapter we read, not maybe last week, the week before? The chapter where they were practicing shooting, Aaron was practicing shooting, and Armin said something about negotiation. If only we had time to negotiate, or like help them see us differently, or remember that conversation? Which chapter was that? Because I want to know time-wise, when did that conversation take place? Because Aaron said back then, there's no time. It smells so appley. I think I made it too sweet now. This is really important to me because I want to understand that. I can't remember on the timeline when this happened. This conversation with the Hizuru lady, this conversation with Hanj, and that conversation with Armin. I want to know, when did it happen, each one. I don't have that much time. Chapter 106. Okay, let's take a look. 106. Oh, was it the last? I thought it was the last time we read together. Oh, okay. Because the last time I read 2 chapters, 105, 106, I read that by myself. Okay, wait. Let me just quickly find that piece. Was it? At the end. Okay, here we go, yeah. So Armin said, I think we can... He remembers how they've been working together since with the engineers and Onyankopon and everyone. I think we can understand one another. Armin, did you see anything in Bertolt's memories? Oh no, nothing that seemed useful. We don't have time. Zeke's only got 3 years left to live. Yeah, about that. Do you think it's okay for us to just go along with Yelena's plans like this? Is there a problem? I just wonder if the only way for us to protect the Aldean people really is to threaten the world with the rumbling. So this happened after that conversation that we just read in 107. It would truly be like a nightmare. The whole world would have to live in fear. Can't we talk before things get that bad? We can speak to Marley and the others around the world once the port is done. If we just resolved our misunderstandings. What do you mean by misunderstandings? You know, like people thinking we're scary. The world sees us as monsters. Are they wrong about that? But we've been able to get along with some Marlians. How many? Most of the soldiers who came here are still glaring at us from prison cells. If we just spent more time... We need time, yes. And to buy us that time, we've got to keep them from messing with us. Okay, wait. So what I'm wanting is Hizuru speaks to Aldeans and talks about, okay, this happened first, then this part about Armin says another way. Armin says another way. Then the conversation with Hanj and Ere in cell. So is this how it happened? Hizuru speaks to the audience about the plan, and then she says they don't have to decide right now. Armin says, isn't there another way than using the rumbling? But how much time, and then Hanj and Eren speak in the cell. How much time is between this and this and this? Like how much? He's to tell Eren's plan, then Eren says, no way, we will do that when, then Armin say, maybe we could talk about it. Huh? What do you mean maybe? Oh yes, I get it now. Sorry, there was no comma, so I was confused. When Hizuru spoke to the audience, how much time? Okay, wait. At this point, when Armin says, wait, what? When Armin says maybe we talk about things before it gets that bad? I think they said here, Zeke only has 3 years left at this point. We've been able to get along. Most of the soldiers, if we just had time, we need time, yes. And to buy the time, we've got to keep them from missing. 3 years ago, Hizuru came to the island. Yes, 3 years ago. And then, how long from when Hizuru spoke to them about the plan that they don't need to rush on, how long after that did Armin say, can't we talk about it? How much time passed, or was it pretty close, like maybe the next week or something? Maybe a year later. 1 year later. But by then, Eren felt, because he said here, we don't have time. To buy that time, because at first he was saying, no, we can't do the rumbling. Because the rumbling included after building the train when they said, let's go to Marley. Oh my God. So Eren was like, no, we're not going to do the rumbling. We're not going to make kids bear this burden. Like being eaten and targeted. Yeah, I'm lost. Not like the story overall makes sense, but timeline is confusing me. Because my head hurts thinking about it. Because Eren said no, we can't do that. We can't do the rumbling because we can't agree to Zeke's plan because Historia would have to do this and bear children, and we don't want to subject kids to this kind of future. So they're not going to agree to the plan yet, and Hizuru said that's fine, or Kiyomi, but then they couldn't come up with another plan. When did Armin say that? Maybe we should talk about it. Why did he say that to Aaron and not to Hanj? It seemed more like oh, wouldn't that be nice? But Armin has the kind of brain, he could have come up with a plan there to capitalize on them benefiting from Hizuru and Hizuru's influence in the world, and Hizuru benefiting from them and their resources. But I don't think they know about maybe how, no, they know better at least how important the resources are. I need to tie my hair. Sorry, I'm just trying to put the puzzle together in my head, but it's a little difficult. So then I want to know the difference of the time between Armin says, couldn't we do this? And then Hanj talking to Eren. Ere said, no, we don't have time. They just need good mediators. Remember in season 1 when Armin they were about to be shot, they were inside a giant titan, and Armin went out and negotiated in that situation where they, at that time, the people didn't know they were the titans. So the titans scared the shit out of them. So when they saw this guy can turn into a titan, Armin in that moment proved it was scary, but he negotiated, and Pixis picked up, and Pixis's brain was like, you know what, let's give you a chance. And then, things went from there. I think I figured it out. First, Hizuru came. They built a train, decided to go to Marley, but Eren already gave up because he saw future memories from Historia's hand in season 3, episode 22. So that happened after speaking to Hizuru. So I said to Armin, he said to Armin, we need to gain time. They go to Marley, and then Eren give up and go rogue. But he gave up already before they went to Marley. So Hizuru speaks to Eldians, and then before Armin says, isn't there another way? That's when Ere kiss Historia hand. Memories. Okay, I misspelled that. So Hizuru speaks to Eldians. Eren kisses Historia's hand, gets memories, and changes his mind what he said here, no. Then Armin says, isn't there another way than the rumbling? Trying to think of a plan. But Eren's like, because of that, he's like, nah. And then Eren went rogue, and then they're in the jail together. Is that when they're in the jail together? Ere go rogue. No, after that, Han just talked to Eren. No, before. Eren became confused from season 3 before Hizuru came. But why did he then, when Hizuru was there, say no to the rumbling? Was it only because of the Historia part? Well, either way, I still am of the opinion that if Armin used his fucking brain, if Armin used his brain and spoke to Hanj, I think they could have come up with a plan with Hizuru to do what he said. But it would take time. And then the thing is what Eren is saying, we need time to negotiate and stuff, and they're going to attack us. But then what would happen, in my opinion, the whole world, if you haven't antagonized them in 100 years, they might fight, but they might come like a little bit, like, oh, we're gonna try. Because they're gonna be out there trying to negotiate with Hizuru. So they have one partner, and the partner benefits by getting the fuel. So if they could negotiate it, they might have been attacked, but not by the whole world at once. And then, when they were attacked, they could defend themselves strongly. And then oh shit, we tried to attack them, but then, just like how in the beginning of season 4, when Marley was fighting the other nation, they fought. And well, fuck, the Titans are too scary, we can't fight them. They have so many Titan shifter powers on their side. They have the Colossus Titan. Unless the whole world attacks them at once, they would be fine. So why did they have to go out in the world and piss everyone off at once? If Armin had just thought a bit, they could have negotiated. Maybe I don't know. This part is weird. You are right. This part is confusing. Probably Eren didn't give up completely until he went to Marley. But that's confusing. The story doesn't do a good part of showing his thought process at this point. Because this part has been focused on Marley mainly up to this point. But now we're back here with Eren. Now we don't know what the fuck's going on in his brain. We know that when Hizuru spoke to them, the lady, he was like, no, no, no. But at some point, he kissed Astoria's hand and saw the future memories. And then Armin was like, there could be another way. And he was like, no, we don't have time. And then he fucked off and did his own thing. And pushed them all. He made them all carry the guilt of what he did. He chose to do. And from there on, they were going to have to do worse things and carry the burden of that. And I don't know if you guys had time to listen to my previous Attack on Titan, the chapter 105 and 106, right? I don't know if you had time to listen to that. But there was one part where I thought to myself, imagine if the Titans, in his little rumbling, he set the Titans loose. Imagine if they walk all over the world and kill everyone, 95% of humanity. The Earth's surface, including within Paradis itself, people were crushed. Which he said, with the discussion to Hizuru, shouldn't happen. In Paradis itself, people were crushed. Now, the whole world, the surface is corpses, splattered guts everywhere, animals dead, environments, ecosystems ruined. How is the Earth going to survive? How are people going to survive on that Earth for the next 50 years? Even within Paradis alone, do you think Flush and his friends are going to cultivate the land and farm and feed the people? You think they can flourish when they shoot anyone that disagrees with them, that feels guilty or feels that what they did was wrong? I didn't post 105. I did. But in my YouTube chat. Here. 102 and 104 is finally live on YouTube. So I did that live to YouTube. But also, here's the unlisted link to chapter 105 and 106, which I read last night. It's not going to, because it kind of ruined everything if that happens. Exactly. So in my opinion, the Earth will not, all of humanity will be dead. The rest of humanity, no one, the kind of plagues that will break out from Flush and his friends, they won't even get to the point where they have to farm and feed people. They'll be too busy killing people that don't agree with them, that blame them for what happened. Like, why did you do this? We feel guilty because the rest of the world didn't have to die for this. Not only that, but how will they clean? There's no... You remember when so many people died and they had to wear the masks and go and clean and try and write down whose names and who died. That will, after the rumbling, it will be way worse. They won't be able to clean. There will be breakouts of diseases that, like the Black Plague. That's what I talked about in the last video. And I was just trying to think to myself, how? How will they survive this? There's no way. They will be turning on each other out of crazed guilt and horror at the people that they lost, that were crushed. Flush's little faction of Jaegerists will be drunk with power and shoot anyone that doesn't do their bidding. That society will not even make it 10 years, in my opinion. So I'm going back to my initial theory, which is that Eren is making himself, because there has been examples of this in other anime. Eren is making himself the big bad villain, and he's going to let his friends save the world, and only then, just like with the king's previous plan with the Willy guy, the Tiber family, he's going to create the next Tiber family. His friends are going to be the Tiber family. They're going to save the world. They're going to go, because they're the heroes. The people left in Paradis, the few people left that weren't crushed by giant feet and shot by Jaegerists, they will be, because thanks to the heroes of the world, they will be helped or they will become immigrants? I don't know what you call those. Do you think Eren is smart enough to think about that? He didn't even check his equipment. I don't know. Future Eren seems, I don't know. The climate would change also because all the trees would be gone, so oxygen levels would be lower below the levels we could live on. I don't know, but something's weird. Something's really weird. A zombie apocalypse could do less damage probably to humanity. Yeah, this is entire ecosystems that would be ruined. But even Paradis alone could not survive. They could not sustain themselves with all their systems fallen apart, with all the diseases that will break out. Eren and Pixis have this conversation on the wall in Season 1, Volume 2, when Eren's Titan form is first revealed. Pixis says something like, there was once a man who said that if there was a non-human enemy, all of humanity would unite against it. What do you think? Oh, you mean about my theory? Yes. I remember that conversation. I have brought it up before as well. That might have been a build-up to this dastardly plan of his. He's becoming... Because it happens in quite a few anime where someone chooses to be the scapegoat. You know? Everyone be mad at me. And if you're mad at me, then these guys can... I don't know. Eren says it doesn't make any sense to me. Well, he grew up a little bit, so I don't know. But let's continue. Let me just say that this part is slightly confusing. I understand the overall story, but the timeline is weird. It's difficult to put together. And it's very frustrating after having 3 seasons of getting things from Eren's perspective. And then, yes, brilliantly, we get things from Marley's perspective. But now to be back with Eren and then not know what's going on in his head is very frustrating. Okay, well, we have to continue. We hadn't found another way yet. Zeke's time was almost up, and Marley was moving forward with their attacks on Paradis faster than expected. I thought you and I felt equally rushed, but I still can't understand why you acted on your own and put the island in danger. Do you not care about what happens to Historia now? I ate the Warhammer Titan. What? It controls Titan hardening to create weapons or anything it needs from underground. But you could have oh no, he couldn't have. The larger plan just seems like he's not thinking far ahead. He's just thinking about how do I save my friends in this immediate moment if they can't come up with a plan. But in the long run, it controls Titan hardening to create weapons or anything it needs from underground. It was an annoying enemy. In other words, you can't imprison me no matter how tough and deep underground the cell is. I can leave here whenever I want. And, of course, you can't kill me. I have the founder. What's more, threats aside, you can't kill Zeke either. In other words, Hanj, I want to know, what can you do? Tell me! If there's another way, then tell me what it is. The point is screaming, grabbing her now and screaming at her at this point after what he's done. There is no answer. He's made it exponentially more difficult for them at this point. Now it's at the point. He's pushed it to the point where I finally can say, I don't think you have a different option now. But before you did what you did, I feel like there was still hope. Now it's like you fucked everyone over. You put them on this path that's only going to lead to the extinction of the human race. Not even just your friends, not even just the Eldians, everyone. And what pisses me off is when people's like, yeah, well, now you think Zeke's plan isn't bad, right? No! Zeke's plan is bad. His plan is worse. Both are wrong. And then people are like, well, then you have to give an answer. Otherwise, we have to go with Aaron's answer. No, just because I can't solve a math problem doesn't mean we go with the wrong answer. If you build things like that, they will break. Imagine if you're doing science computations and you're like, you know what? It's too difficult to find an answer for me right now based on my knowledge that I have. So I'll just put any number in here because that almost makes sense. And then let's build this contraption with this computations because we can't find the right answer, but this is the closest answer we've got. So let's go with that. And then explosion. Everyone dies. Just because I can't, because that's another thing that I get a lot. Since you don't have the right answer, Aaron's is the right answer. That's not how right and wrong works. Am I the only one that thinks that? Do you guys think if you don't find the right answer for a calculation, you can just put in a number in there because we have no other answer? No, you get better knowledge. You try more to solve the problem. You don't just chuck the wrong number in there and hope things work out for the best. Especially not this plan. It's way too extreme. Okay, calm down. It's just a story. Okay. So then he screams at her after he pushed her in even more of a corner than they already were in. Aaron puts everyone in a situation where his way is the only way. Aaron is hot, so he's right. Just kidding. I think it's you who said in the past that it's not the Polly situation. Oh, the trolley situation, yes. Yeah, the trolley situation is an interesting thought experiment, but you're never going to be in that situation. Or at least very, very rarely. If anything, at this point now, he's pushed them into as close to the trolley situation as possible. But in real life, you don't just have kill them or kill them. That wasn't back here when Armin said, talk to him, maybe there's another way. Back when Hizuru spoke to them about Zeke's plan, I don't think it was, at least then it was the trolley problem because it wasn't just that option or that option. But I admit, of course, they were in a very difficult situation. War situations are generally very difficult and complex. But he put them into an even more, infinitely more difficult situation. The whole world, at this point in time, remembered Paradis as, in the past, they ruled the world, but now Marley is the strongest, and Marley can use them against us. They're being used. So so my point is, they didn't look too strong to the world anymore because they were defeated and they were being used. You could have used that to your advantage. Look how weak we actually are. We can't turn into titans because we want to. Someone has to force us. So like, but now he's reminded the world, actually, this is what you should focus on. We can turn into giant Colossus Titans. The world probably didn't even remember about the Colossus Titan. It was like a vague myth, maybe. All they knew in this time, everyone that was alive, except, the history buffs that were still absorbing history, but the majority of the average person, all they knew is, in the past, Aldeans ruled, but they were defeated, and now they're being used by Marley. Used and abused, thrown away like cattle. They looked weak. Capitalize on that. Remind them that their true enemy right now is the people who want to abuse our powers or something. You had chances. You had freaking Armin did it in season 1. There was the perfect example. It was 3 kids against an army. And all they needed was one Pixis. One motherfucking Pixis. And things changed for them. But then what happened to Armin's brain? Aaron told him, no, not possible. I guess. You should cultivate that thought. Okay, but then he screams at Hanj. And she says, you pervert. Ever the rebellious teen, huh? Grow up, Aaron. Erwin, this was your one mistake. Why did you ever make me commander? King Black Blaze, thank you. How are you? Can I do this? Thank you. I will enjoy tomorrow, hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't rain. I want to go outside and hike. I'm more excited to hike now that I know we're not doing the far away one. Okay, so now we're here with Mikasa at the grave. Hey, you're a Marleyan, aren't you? Why the hell are you here? What business do you have at a funeral for an Eldian killed by Marley? Please wait. We'll take care of him. Are you okay, Niccolo? How'd you get here? Why? Did Sasha really die? Tell me, why? What were all of you doing? They said a girl snuck onto the airship and shot her. How could that possibly happen? She was no ordinary girl. She'd been trained. A warrior candidate? We'd let our guard down. I'm sorry. Why apologize to me? All I did was cook for her. Thank you, Niccolo, for feeding her so much good food. What about you, Connie? Sasha and I were like twins. It feels like I've lost half of me. Son, I understand you did a lot for my daughter. Sorry, I'm gonna read his voice like this. Sir, I'm just a captive Marleyan, but I have permission to work as a chef. Your daughter enjoyed my food more than anyone else. So if you would, please come and eat my food. See, this is how he knows his daughter was killed in Marley, but he's not mad at the Marleyan. He can separate in his brain. He has the sense. He might be just a simple farmer man, but he has the sense. On the house, right? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This is all the Titan transformation serum stolen from Marley. Duplicating it will be hard. We weren't able to steal the materials, equipment, or experts in Titan science. You'd need this time. No, this ought to be Bless you. This ought to be enough. We really should thank you for this. You've led us from ignorance to hope. And we've given you nothing in return. Only devils would doubt their own saviors. No, 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 no. Doubt all people a little bit. Anyone can do good things for bad reasons. Anyone can start out good, be corrupted, and then be bad. And you don't have to mistrust everyone, but just don't be like, oh, we're always indebted to you, blah, blah, blah. No. I feel we've proved that we are friends to the Eldians over these past 3 years. It's unfortunate those guns we brought you were meant to bring freedom to Eldians, yet forgive my selfishness, but please overlook our weakness for a time. We have no choice but to place shackles on Zeke. That's fine with me, Commander Pixis. The day will soon come when we sit around the same dinner table once again. You must believe that no one hopes for that day more than we do. My hotel? Why did they turn on them here specifically? What happened again? Or am I going to find that out as we read? It's been an hour and 10 minutes. I'm still in the first chapter. Oh, I'm so bad. You must believe me that no one, blah, blah. My hotel? This? Any complaints? What better lodging could there be? Because he's a monkey and there's trees. A forest of giant trees that grow as high as 80 meters. It won't be easy to get out on your own. No handy rocks either. So you won't be tossing anything around or taking any excursions. Looks like a fun spot for lots of vertical maneuvering too. Still, nothing like this exists anywhere else. What do you say, Captain Levi? They're afraid they will do something now that Zeke is here on the island. Oh. I'd like to show Gabi and Falco this vast wilderness as well. You're worried about those brats? Whether or not they get to see this vast wilderness is up to you. Whoa. Gabi, hey, what's wrong? Oh, she's pretending, I remember. Hey, get a hold of yourself. What happened? Are you okay? Hey, she suddenly started writhing. And then whack right across the face with a brick. Good. Oh, not only did she knock him out, but she crushed his skull. Oh my god. Falco, couldn't you just tackle her? Stop, Gabi. No, tackle her. You know she was going to do that. Jesus. But in her mind, she's in enemy territory. So she's like a cornered rat. They lash out. Hurry up and hide him under the bed. Damn it, you went too far. Little too late to say that, Falco. But I guess, he didn't want to be hit in the head with the thing himself. What's running away going to do? They're just going to kill us if we stay here. He was worried about you, Are you really going to believe those devils? She'll learn. I can't trust Zeke anymore. I can't trust anyone. That was Reiner waking up. Holy fudge. Bad dreams. If only it had all been a dream. I heard Gabi and Falco's voices. Where are those two? Here's this part. I remember this part in the anime. Come in, Historia. You need to take better care of yourself. What is she? She's sitting outside in a rocking chair. How can she take better care of herself? It's good to be in the sun. Is he meaning come eat something or what? She's pregnant. Lucky bitch. I'm kidding. I just want to be in her shoes right now, but not in her literal shoes, just pregnant. That'd be nice. Next chapter. Okay, I'm thinking we're just gonna do 2 chapters today. I'm gonna have to alter my schedule again. The same thing happened last time. I could only do 2 because I was talking so much. Let's continue. Chapter 108, a sound argument. Finally, let's hear one. I'm just glad we were able to restrain the volunteers. Pixis is in command. I'm sure he will succeed. Of course, it would normally be a job for us MPs. Even if it does work out, those volunteers did so much for us. To make them hate us now is just so... Feeling sympathy for Marlians, Niall? I see you're quite drunk, Rogue. Marlians make good wine. They've given us so much. Oh, you thought you double-crossed them, but they were already double-crossing you. But that's no reason to let them roam free now. Of course, it'd be a different story if you believed that boss they worship was really on our side. We're the subjects of Ymir after all. Oh, I don't know what's this. If Eren and Zeke used the power of the founding titan, they could mess with everyone's memories, right? Ugh, I get chills just hearing you say that. So you really think that holding the volunteers hostage and telling Zeke what to do is going to make him obey? How should I know? Who can know the final wishes of a man whose time is ticking down? And that's the man with a grip over all our brains. Ugh, I knew it would end up like this. But technically, he's not wrong for distrusting Zeke, right? Because Zeke wants to euthanize them. Sterilize them, more like. Sterilize them into extinction. We should have gone ahead with our plan as soon as Zeke reached the island. We should have turned Queen Astoria into a titan and fed him to her. Well, that I... Instead of that, we've let her go off and enjoy herself and have a little brat. And with some local she didn't even marry. I guess a low-born girl could never become a true queen. I want to know who she married. Really? Just a random guy? I want to know, did she love him? I'm so curious. Like, why this storyline? I can't wait. I can't wait to know more. What happens? Does Astoria's role in the story come back? Is she just always going to be there? Cut it out. The queen has a right to choose her partner. He's been checked out. We know he's no one's pawn. He's a young man. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. He's a young man born and raised in the same place as Queen Historia. I understand he used to throw rocks at the queen as a child because she wouldn't leave the farm. He must have wanted her to notice him. He says he worked at the queen's orphanage out of guilt he felt from back then. He did menial work with his head down for years. He wasn't trying to get her attention. So she made the first move, but why? You want to know what was going on in her head. Who cares how the relationship began? I'm asking why the queen would choose now to act so selfishly. Because she was always like, back in the discussions with Hizuru, she was like, I will do this, I will do that. I will become, like, I'll give up my life. So why did she choose now? Did she just want a few years of simple happiness? She's technically the monarch of this nation, right? A puppet forced onto the throne to help us seize power. We've already burdened her with this awful fate. None of us has the right to complain about her love life. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's about timing. Now that she carries a child with royal blood, our plan has fallen apart. Someone must have informed the queen. They told her the corpse wanted to feed Zeke to her as soon as they could. But if she's got pregnant, she wouldn't have to become a titan until after she gave birth. Someone told her the truth. That someone? That frame seems kind of familiar. She's not just the queen. She's also a brave soldier who's had her share of scrapes with death. You're really saying she'd be scared of inheriting the Beast Titan? Perhaps she wanted Zeke to live out more of the time he has left. Do you have any proof of that? Someone who wanted Zeke to survive has advised her. In other words, a volunteer. It has to have been Yelena. She's the cleverest and craziest of them all. Well, that's not a lie. What could those bastards be planning? So, you have no proof? Zeke survived thanks to the Queen's pregnancy. You've had too much to drink, Rug. It's not too late. Just make her a Titan, pregnant or not. That might kill her child. And if something goes wrong, it's all over. Childbirth is a big enough threat to her life already. It may be logic like yours that destroys nations. What an unlikable pig, to put it nicely. Hey, Marlian, another bottle. Yes, sir. Niccolo, this one's your recommendation, right? Okay, so here is Arman, Jean, Mikasa, and Connie. But we see Arman's face, we see Mikasa's face, we see Jean's face. We don't see Connie. Connie is the one that's turned away. I can't believe Pixis would use these strong-arm tactics. They must have hatched this plot while we were laying low in Marley. They're breaking up the volunteers and putting them under house arrest. Everything's falling apart now. They didn't inform the Survey Corps because of our close ties to them. I guess they didn't have any other choice. We're in a delicate situation so long as we don't know exactly what Zeke is plotting. And Aaron suddenly started going along with Zeke's plan. Suddenly. But he has a different plan than Zeke's plan. We know that. But he's still going along with it part of the way. He decided on his own to contact Zeke. And what they spoke about, only those two know for sure. Hey, all of you. Did that look like Aaron to you? It didn't to me. That wasn't Aaron. If he's capable of picking his half-brother over us, then what? We need to be prepared to cut him down ourselves. I won't let you do that. You two? You're taking their side, Mikasa? It won't come to that. Aaron cares about us more than anyone else. Just think back to what happened a year ago. See, I need to see a timeline. Probably something like that exists, but maybe not without spoilers. So I'll wait until the end of the show to see something like that. Hello? 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 What you guys? Huh? What is you? Alright, guys. Oh, wow. Alright, guys. What you, Bobo? Hmm? What you doing? What you doing? Are you just not big? Oh, look at Bobo. She's so cute. Okay. Think back to what happened a year ago. Are you hungry? Is Hanko not downstairs? He's probably playing games. He didn't notice her. Just give me a minute. I just wanna take her downstairs and tell Hanko to feed her maybe or something. Hanko. Ska ik kom här? De är för på för jag har food. fed her earlier, but I don't know why she came to get me. Okay, we continue. Just think back to what happened a year ago. I've been working on the railroad all the live long day. Hey, do we really need to be doing this? No, we don't. If that idiot hadn't opened his stupid mouth and said that we could train our bodies while developing the island, well, it's true that we are just waiting for an answer from Hizuru now. Mikasa, wait, who is this? Oh, that's Sasha, I think. Look at Mikasa carrying. And they're saying our chances are slim, right? What was our argument? Eldians have human rights too, or something? Plus, we'll sell them resources. The important thing is for Hizuru to introduce us to the world. If we make friends with more nations and use that diplomacy stuff, we won't need to flatten the world with titans. Oh, so it was the plan and they were waiting for an answer from Hizuru. But when was this happening? Did this happen before Armin says another way and that conversation when Eren was practicing shooting? Or did it happen after? So did he already start developing the plan even though Eren said no, it won't work? And if we make friends with more nations and use the diplomacy stuff, we don't need to flatten the world. And if that saves Historia from suffering, we have to give it a try. I found this timeline. Can you send the link to Soto so Sotos can send the link in the chat? Because I don't allow anyone to send links because otherwise people send weird shit. Sorry about the heat. It's fine. We have to be here to watch over this moron. Is it something urgent? You all got so big. How dare you? We've just received a reply from the Azumabito. And no good. Looks like Hizuru came up empty-handed. I knew it. Hizuru was interested in keeping our resources all for themselves. They're not going to help us trade with other nations. Sure, there are organizations who want to protect the rights of Eldians, but they're considered freaks. No one will take them seriously. In fact, the world needs Paradis to be the root of all evil. Look. See, Eren's face, that phrase, he is going to scapegoat. That's why he's doing all such fucking non-understandable crazy shit. He made them, my theory, I'm believing in it more strongly. Events of season 1 to 3 happen in the year 850. In 851, the first Marley scout ships captured by Paradis, Yelena and Co. defect. Kiyomi Azumabito, representative of Hizuru, forms alliance with Paradis. Marley continues to send 32. But why does Hizuru only want to do it Zeke's way? Is it because of the resources? Because they're greedy. Marley continues to send 32 more ships over the next 3 years to Paradis. All are captured or destroyed. 32! And they just disappeared and they just kept sending more. Like, test, 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 test. 32 times. And then 2 years later, or that was probably happening for 2 years, over the next 3 years to Paradis. So 851, 852, 853. Eren and friends assembled the train line and Azumabito clan failed to find allies. So they didn't fail to find, they just were greedy. And couldn't they have negotiated there, like, what about Yelena's people Onyankopon's people, was there really no other Azumabito clan or Hizuru nation that they could reach out to without the help of Hizuru? Because they just need, like I said, they just need one freaking Pixis. But clearly, the Azumabito don't want to be that Pixis. Because, yeah, Yelena's a crazy bitch. I don't understand. I'm not going to judge Yelena's people based on Yelena's crazy bitch personality. So maybe. But yeah, what about Onyankopon? There's even people like Magus in Marley that was slowly siding with the Marlians. I mean the Eldians, right? Because he wanted Marlians to also fight in the war. Like he wanted to stop using Eldians as cattle, basically. He wanted Marlians to also fight so that they can have a taste of what it's like, so they can stop pushing for more war because they don't know what it's like. They're not losing anything because they're only losing cattle. So there has to be more people like Magus out there. There has to be. It's just that because the Azumabito clan specifically, not even everyone in Hizuru, but Azumabito clan are siding with Zeke because in that plan, they get all the resources. Zeke's final year as the Beast Titan in 854. Eren infiltrates the Marleyan army. Battle of Fort Salta. Marley Mideast War ends. Raid of Liberia. Historia's pregnant, likely third trimester, 7 to 9 months. Probably around rather 8 to 9 because it looks like since he's so worried about her just sitting, she must be, you know, towards the end where, I don't know. But so Hizuru speaks to the Eldians in 1851. So where on this timeline does Armin say another, like, isn't there another way? And so it's after 854. No, it's in 854 that Hanj and Eren have that talk in the cell. So it's just this part. It's just this part about Armin that I'm not sure where it places here. Probably around Eren and friends assembled train line. I should look, what's their hair look like? I don't know. Maybe just before that, maybe after that. But still, when does his mind change from Hizuru, no, we're not going to do that. Eren kisses Historia's hand, memories. Conversation with Hizuru lady, no, we're not going to do that. Conversation with Armin, your plan won't work. He's already given up or starting to give up. It's between 853 and 854 where Armin and... Yeah. So there... But in 851... In 850, he kisses Historia's hand and has the future memories. In 851, he has the conversation with Hizuru and says, no, we're not going to do that. Then between 853 and 854, that's when he starts getting like, no, we've run out of time. I think, sadly, because of lack of knowledge about the world, they left everything to Azumabito and the volunteers. They relied too much on them, kind of like how Pixis said we'd be devils if we... Wasn't there also something like a summit they went to in Marley undercover? There was a human rights organization they were counting on, which turned out to be super anti-Paradis, so they were very disillusioned. I don't remember something like that, maybe. Yeah. Wait, I do remember I do remember that now. A picture is popped into my head. I'm trying to remember which chapter that happened. Yelena was only there to support Zeke. Are you back again, Sky? Come sit on my lap. Come sit on my lap. Do you just want mama love? Eldians wanted to blame Paradis as the true descendant of the Empire, while everyone else is just a victim in chapter 1, 2. Oh. So was it like Eldians from Marley that were at a summit to fight for their human rights, but they still wanted to you have a scapegoat. So it wasn't us, it was the Eldians on Paradis specifically. It's not Eldians, it's Eldians on Paradis. Come. Come on. Come, Levi. I don't know what she wants. She's being weird. I haven't read the manga, so I don't know, but it was revealed later on in the show, but it must be before 854. Yeah, it was maybe after 853, when they were undercover in Marley, maybe. But Marley was sending all these ships. I wonder if they could have more overtly defended themselves and sent like a warning in defense, you know? Okay, but let's continue reading. Where did my manga go? Okay, so here it says, in fact, the world needs Paradis to be the root of all evil. They think that shared attitude brings them all together, protecting global stability. I wonder many things. Okay, so then they all looked kind of like disgruntled. So does that mean we just have to rely on the earth shaking and that we have no choice but to sacrifice Historia? It does. It's in our treaty with Hizuru that we'll enter into a military alliance backed by the earth shaking. So does the world want us to repeat the same evil acts our ancestors committed 100 years ago? Does the world want us? The thing is, it's not that they want you to repeat the same evil act. It's that they think you are still the same people. Even Eldians within Marley think you are still your ancestors. That is the sad reality that even people in the real world cannot fathom. They cannot fathom that I am not my ancestors and I shouldn't carry the guilt or burden of their sins. If even in real life people can't, it's not that they want you to be bad, it's that they associate you literally with your ancestors. They cannot separate your actions from their actions. But it's obviously not every single person on earth. It's just the elites, those in control, those with power, because they don't want to lose power, so they're always going to be scared of other powers that could take their place. And Eldians ruled 100 and something years ago, whatever, so they're scared of losing their power. Even though you're not the same Eldians, they're associating you together. Because that king, that freaking king, he made the lie with the Tiber family, like, why couldn't he just have They've decided for themselves that we're devils, regardless of what our own intentions are. Why can't we all think of a path toward peace together? Probably because they don't know. They don't know who we are, so they're scared. All they know is your ancestors, their history. So that's what they're basing all their actions on. So how, now the question is, how do you break free from that history? How do you show that you are not your ancestors? Technically, justice, in true perfect justice world, you wouldn't need to prove that because it's wrong. You don't have to prove that you're a good person just because your great grandfather did a bad thing. That's ridiculous. But sadly, even me, I'm hated by a big portion of the people that live in this country purely because of the color of my skin, links me to some people from very long ago that did XYZ thing. You know what I'm saying? So if even in the real world, the people... So what, in the real world, what would we do to separate ourselves? One, in my opinion, but this is too different. This is far too different. Because I can still participate in society. They can't, because the fear is that big. But yeah, the question remains, how do they break free from their history when the world doesn't know them and there's no freaking YouTuber that can sit and make a video and say, like, listen, we mean you no harm. Usually the easiest way is send the pretty girl. Like what the Miss World competition, and that kind of fosters these relationships between countries, because you just see these pretty girls from these pretty countries getting along and you believe like we could be like that, we're all friends. You need the performative thing like that. Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point. They start making manga. That is how Japan did it. I remember reading about that. Like, Japan did these things, and then America wanted to end the war quickly. They didn't want to prolong it, so they did a very bad, unethical thing. But people, even in Japan, people were like, you know what? We're fine with it, because in the end, the war didn't get prolonged. So that was decided. But now there was still this, we did this thing, and then the treaty was, you're not allowed to have an army, right? If I'm remembering correct. So how did they change the world's opinion of them? They made manga and stuff. Maybe not with that intention in mind, but that's kind of, now everyone, not everyone, but a huge portion of the world is like, we want to go to Japan. We love Japan. I want to learn to speak Japanese. Only a self-defense force. Which is still not right, in my opinion, because people in the present time shouldn't be held responsible for the mistakes of their ancestors. So technically, if all these other countries that have also done bad things, if they can have armies, Japan should be allowed to have an army. So but that's kind of cool. Japan, to change the world's perception of them, with not intentionally, probably, the world just, they gave something great to the world, and they have something great. You know, we know from history, the Titans actually, they made a lot of huge steps. Like, you can benefit from the shifter power. You can benefit from their resources. So if they can just show the world, maybe, you know, we have something you want. We have power. We have resources to give you, blah, blah, blah. I think Germany isn't allowed to have an army either. Isn't that linked? Like, Japan and, I don't want to say something stupid. Never mind. There's an international relations term for it, soft power, and the whole Cool Japan project that entailed manga and electronics, etc., was intentional soft power by the part of the Japanese government in the post-war years. Wow, interesting. Interesting. So that is the plan they came up with, to change the world's perception of them. Wow, holy fuck, it was successful. Now everyone, not everyone, but obviously I don't mean that literally, but everyone I know, because I'm, in this community, we all want to live in Japan, we all want to see Japan, we all want to speak Japanese, we listen to J-pop, we buy their cards and their manga and their everything, I'm literally, if only Aaron read manga. But they might have, if there only was a plan for them. But the problem is, the people they were working with didn't have their best interest at heart. And they were too naive to realize, we can work with you, but we shouldn't, like Pixa said, oh, how can we, our saviors. Like, they're not your saviors. They're other people that know more than you and share their information. And you didn't kill them, so. Equal gains here. All that gold helped jumpstart Japan's electronic industry. Yes, the gold that they got from somewhere else, which America or somewhere allowed them to keep because they wanted to be more lenient than they were with the treaty after World War I, because they were worried of spurring on another world war, since that's how World War II started, right? Because it was a too harsh crackdown, which crippled the people, which made them easy to take advantage of. And that's why World War II started. So then they didn't want to make the same mistakes. So they let Japan, they said, you know what, you keep the stuff that you took, use it to rebuild yourself. And here, you just can't have an army or whatever. And then, yes, as we said, Japan wanted to change the world's perception. Let's get past this. Let's give the world something great. Manga. And there we go, I guess. That's why in China and Korea, there is still a negative view of Japan. Plus, all the killing and... I don't want to read that. Yeah, that happens always in war. I don't know why. I think killing people, even if it's for a noble reason, it corrupts your mind and the fucking body and soul. And then you become... Then that kind of stuff happens and it's just so... Ugh. Japan actually did some crazy stuff. More crazy stuff than Hitler did, but they didn't do it publicly and they kind of destroyed most of the proof later. But no one is still alive today, probably, that did those things. But there are still people, there are still people, like the Nazis and stuff, they ran away and they went to other countries and they did things. They negotiated terms and they fled. And what did they do? Who did they become? What if they still, they lost, but they might not have changed. They might still believe the stuff they believed back then. They might still want power. Then your soul becomes like Aaron's final form. You had Nazi hunters that track a lot of them down. There was even a movie about it. Kind of like, that's ironic because in the movie, Glorious Bastards, there was a hunter of Jewish people as well. But he hunted, because not, like, Jewish people were being hunted for just being Jewish. Nazis were being hunted for what they did as Nazis. And yes, there might be one or two Nazis that... Wasn't there that one guy that did something nice or was not too bad sounding? But if you're 1 out of a million, 1 out of 1,000, it's like, it's difficult. Because it's being Jewish is completely different to Jewish is like an ethnicity, and being a Nazi is like a political party. So I am quite interested. I tried to watch a video one time about what does it mean to be Jewish. I don't know how far I got into that video because it's like an ethnicity but also a religion, but not just a religion. Something like that. They just recently lost or found a Nazi member that was in his 90s and he got arrested. What was he doing? Because I think some of them are in positions of strong power maybe and are still manipulating a little bit things behind the scene. There are Japanese people who feel responsible for their ancestors' actions and they believe they should accept punishments. I read that Isayama could have wrote King Carl Peace thinking based on them. Oh. The peace treaty, the original king, because hello. Yes, that makes sense. That would make sense. Because that king, and there are people like that, not just Japanese people, but even in South Africa, there are people that are white that think we're not allowed to complain about like all the farm killings, a lot of white farmers being murdered, and not just murdered, but skinned alive, children raped and boiled and blah, 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 blah. We're not allowed to complain about that because we did worse things. We have to accept the punishment. We have to blah, blah, blah. If we have a problem, we have to move away. It's not, but like, you can want to help your country if you have something and you want to support your country and make a stronger people for everyone that lives there. That's great. If you want to take responsibility and just be a good person, cool. But you can't be like, my ancestors did something bad, therefore I deserve other people that are just the same skin color as me that did nothing deserve not just punishment but horrifying unjust things. People in Japan shouldn't think that way, in my opinion. People in South Africa shouldn't think that way. There are many countries that are like that. But at some point in history, everyone's people did bad things. And, that makes me think of actually a very unpopular Avatar episode. So there's an Avatar episode, spoilers, if you don't want to hear, please mute me. There's an Avatar episode that's apparently the most unpopular one, and it's called The Great Divide, right? And the one side, it's two clans, and both of the clans, they hate the other one because your leader did something bad to my leader. Your leader did something bad to my leader. No, this is what happened. No, this is what happened. And then in the end, Aang says a story and he was like, actually, you're both wrong and this is what happened. And that means that you shouldn't be angry at each other because it didn't happen the way you thought and your leaders were pretty good friends. But then it turns out Aang lied. That didn't happen, but it's because it doesn't matter. The past is in the past. We cannot know. Like, obviously there's things in our history. We shouldn't just pretend the past doesn't exist. We should know what we know and learn from history, of course. But it's just that at some point to get along, you have to move on. And in this specific episode, they couldn't move on because they kept blaming each other. So he just told a story that made them stop blaming each other. Okay, I need to read. Okay. Probably because they don't know. Oh, sorry. Okay, we're reading from where Armin says, why can't we all think of a path towards peace together? Probably because they don't know. They don't know who we are, so they're scared of us. We could keep relying on the Azumabito to go around to other countries, but the outcome won't change. She keeps putting her paw on my chest like, hello, give me pet, give me pet. We could keep relying on them. The world can't see our faces. Why would they ever trust us? So let's meet them ourselves. If they don't understand who we are, we just have to teach them. Isn't that what the Survey Corps is about? Sky, what you doing? Create a base in Marley and sneak in from there. So that was your plan, Commander? And from there we can taste authentic Marleyan cuisine and... No. There's meaning in us surveying what's really happening in the world. Of course, we'll still have to get help from either the volunteers or from Miss Kiyomi, either way. What should I bring? Wait, we'll still have to get help from either the volunteers or Miss Kiyomi. What you doing? What you doing? What should I bring? Hope I don't get a stomach bug. Antacids, a toothbrush, and a snack that tastes of home. Were you listening at all? Nicolo said they have lots of kinds of alcohol, right? What did Armin say? One day, Keller, you have to read about Unit 731. You will understand how crazy Japan went at war. I don't wanna. I don't think I need to read it. To me, that would just be like punishing myself. I know my country in history, people did bad things. I know that country history. To me, there's no point in reading more and more and more about how horrible it truly was. At the end of the day, it was bad. And we know what happened, and you know what happened, but I don't have to go read it and like remind myself. And we don't have to. It's like there was a singer guy that said, imagine if you're in a relationship with someone and now you're dating in high school and you're dumb and the girlfriend cheats, but then they meet again 10 years later and she's grown up and he's grown up and they start dating again. And then instead of having an anniversary of when they started dating again, they have an anniversary of when she cheated on him. You know, she cheated, and now on the anniversary, she had to tell him more and more details about exactly where they were and what did she do and how did they kiss, and you can never move forward that way. I already know more or less about, what happened in various wars. I feel like it is important to remember history. We shouldn't just pretend like it didn't happen. But historians are doing that. People in general should be aware of what happened, but not like mull on it, not like bring it back. Because otherwise, how can we move forward? Especially if it's ancestors, It's like, I didn't do that. But now every year on the history of when this thing happened, you go and you read what my ancestors did and you get angry and you're mad at me. But I didn't do it, but understandably, because you're reading about these horrible things. And now you want revenge and you want payback. And that's how that wheel keeps spinning. Okay. There's meaning in us surveying what's really happening in the world. Of course, we'll still have to get help from either the volunteers or from Miss Kiyomi. What should I bring? I hope I don't get a stomach bug. Blah, blah, blah. I already read this. Nicolo said they have lots of kind of alcohol. Fortunately, Eldian is a common tongue. We should be able to communicate in many countries. Though that's because of why? Because of the 2,000 years that the Eldians colonized the world, right? Am I understanding that right? Otherwise, why would Eldian be a common tongue? Personally, I don't get mad at the Japanese people now. I'm just always curious about history, stuff like that. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't forget history, and you have no attachment to them, right? So your family wasn't hurt by them, so you can read the stuff without getting emotionally charged. But now what people do is people who do get emotionally charged, whose grandfather may have been affected, or great grandfather, they read and read and read and read, and they get angry and they start hating the other side, even if the other side is mostly dead. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying you shouldn't read it, but for me, it would just be punishing myself, because I wouldn't get mad, but I would just feel sad. And sad and sad and hopeless, probably. I would have to go through a whole thing where I have to remind myself why I believe in people when I read things like that. Lacanino. Oh my god, did I put my phone on charge? I forgot. And my throat is starting to hurt again from all this talking. Aldean is a common tongue we should be able to communicate in many countries. We will have to be careful about our accents and about reading. If the world finds out that we just want the peace, then it's like Hanj said, something might change. If only you had fucking YouTube and Instagram. You could make posts about how cute you all are, and then you find yourself staring into a mirror in a jail cell, repeating over and over again, Tatakai, Tatakai. Sorry. Wouldn't that have been nice though? If they had freaking YouTube. They could make they could do TikTok dances and the world could see them. Ah, yeah, you're harmless. It's like, I saw this. Please don't take this personally or as something I believe. Please, please, please. But I recently saw on Twitter a comparison between an ad for one army versus an ad to join the American army. And the American army was like, their ad was very, it didn't look intimidating at all. It looked like, I don't know what it looked like. It just didn't look like an army. They didn't look like, we are going to protect our country. It didn't look like that's what it was about. Whereas the other country's ad or something to join their army was like push-ups and strong and punching, and like it felt like, yeah, you guys can protect us. Oh, we shouldn't mess with them, that kind of feeling. So that's why I'm joking and saying, if only they had TikTok and they can do TikTok dances, the world would see, hey, they're not so threatening. Look at them doing funny things. Look at Sasha. Oh, I love Sasha's... almost choked. Imagine Sasha could have a... What is the channel when you watch people eating? I can't remember the word. So yeah, Mikasa could have like, I don't know, she could just have an Instagram account where she looks pretty and like shy, like, oh, don't take a picture of me, no. Someone could manage her account. Armin could do like one of those learning channels. I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like if they had the possibilities that we do now. And it just goes to show we do have a lot of benefits from social media, but sadly it can also be used against us. Propaganda is so much easier with the algorithms and stuff that keep you scrolling and keep certain things popping up. One thing I would have been interested to learn about is advertising, because they use psychological tricks to advertise these, not just these days, but even back then. Ways to get into your subconscious mind to make you want to buy things and do things. That would have been an interesting thing to study, just to understand how it works, so that I can avoid falling for it. Levi would have a how to become a fidget spinner YouTube channel. USA Army posters always try to make like you think you will have a good time and it'll lead to a good life. Recruiters are trained to tell people who good of the time they will have. Recruiters are trained to tell people how good of a time they'll have in the military and how you will have a bright future. The opposite of Erwin, obviously. Levi would appear in cleaning product ads. Well, he already does, doesn't he? But in this world, yeah. What would be the equivalent? How could they achieve that kind of voice? You know? If only we had a little more time. Zeke has less than 2 years left. I only have 5, and change. We need to decide soon who's going to inherit my Titan. In 5 years. I don't think this is something you need to bring up now. Man, that shit's strong. I will. You know you can't. We still don't know what the Ackerman family is. You're half Eastern too. We don't even know if you can become a Titan, right? Yeah. Then there's those big plans Hizuru's got for you. They'd flip out if you became a Titan. It can't be you for more reasons than I can count. Jean's right. Then who else? Me. First off, I'm way smarter than Eren. I'm no suicidal butthead. I'll always be able to use my excellent powers of judgment, no matter the situation. I'm a rare specimen who can carry out all the duties that would be needed of me. That's right, me. Getting a hand-me-down from Eren is annoying, but really, who better than me? What are you, stupid? How could we afford to lose someone that valuable after just 13 years? Huh? You should aim to become the leader of the corps or something. I'll take over Eren's Titan. What do you say, Eren? That's good, right? Better me than Jean. That isn't a good idea because you're an idiot. What? What? No, I mean, how could we let an idiot be responsible for something so important? What? That boy really gets my goat. I'll inherit it. I'm about the only reliable one with combat experience. In fact, it has to be me, by process of elimination. Guys, I don't wanna though. You know I don't wanna. No, what? That doesn't make sense. What? Well, we can't give it to an idiot. You said that yourself, right? Hmm? You're an even bigger idiot than me. So that'd be contradicting what you just said. Do you not understand that? What? What scene was making you think? I love how each protect the other. I love Jean too. Jean. I keep calling him Jean. I'm not planning on handing it down to any of you. Why not? Because you're important to me, more than anyone. Although, in the future, my actions will lead to the death of one of you. Good luck. Sorry. So, I want you to live long lives. Except you, Sasha. No particular reason. How Eren is looking at John without the comment. I don't trust him when he's being quiet. Yeah, usually he would bite back, but he's hopeless now. So then they all sit there. Tatonk. Huh? Why are you all red? What's going on here? Oh, shame. It's the sunset. It's making everyone red. Oh, well, nothing I can do about that. Oh, look at the faces. Eren cares about us. That could be why he got so combative with everyone aside from us. Everyone meaning the whole world. I think he did that because those feelings are so strong. You're saying he did it all for us? You're wrong. No matter how strong you were, the old Eren would always try to keep you away from the front lines against the Titans. But this time, he sent Armin to destroy the port and put you on the battlefield. Same with everyone else he said was important to him. Connie and Sasha. I think that's because he trusts us. Aaron wouldn't have been able to do anything if we hadn't gone, right? No. He would have been able to do stuff. Not not anything. Good night. I'm just gonna read this one. See you later. If we hadn't gone, Sasha wouldn't have had to die either. Mikasa, what do you think Aaron did when Sasha died? Do you think he cried? Do you think he was angry? Connie, stop. The bastard laughed. He wondered. I wonder what could have been so funny. What exactly about Sasha's death? Well, he was just crazily laughing at the irony behind. He wanted to protect you, as he said, but then his actions led to her death, her early death, can I just say. So that was obviously not because he thought it was funny. But he doesn't understand that because he's still hurting. Tell me, Mikasa, why did Aaron laugh? You know everything about him, right? We'll talk to Aaron. Just me, Mikasa, and him. We'll finagle our way into a discussion with him. And what's a discussion going to do? Well, a discussion back in season 1 set up all of this because Armin's discussion with Pixis saved their lives, but okay. A discussion can do a lot. If someone's willing, if just one person is willing to listen. The one time in the past that Aaron used the Founder's power, Dina, a Titan with royal blood, was eaten by a swarm of Titans. That wasn't Dina's will. It was what Aaron wanted. In other words, while Dina's Titan was the catalyst that activated the Founder's power, she wasn't the one capable of giving orders. Aaron, who had the Founder, controlled those Titans. It ought to be the same between Aaron and Zeke. In that case, whatever Zeke might be planning, it won't happen unless it's what Aaron wants to. Yeah, we know. Zeke wants to kill all the Eldians slowly, let them sterilize and die out. Aaron wants to kill everyone else. And also, you know, the Eldians who happen to get in the way of the feet when the rumbling starts. Whatever Zeke might be planning, it won't happen unless it's what Aaron wants to. Aaron's the one who decides what happens. As long as he shares our goals, there's no problem. And what if he shares Zeke's goals? The corpse has the serum that could turn someone into a Titan. That means we have a choice. You don't mean the choice to turn someone else who we trust into a Titan and have them inherit Aaron's Founder. No, but Aaron still has time left. I know. So we have to discover Aaron's true motives and prove to everyone that Aaron is on our side. Angry face. Okay, moving on to Zeke and Levi. Oh, and then moving on again to Gabi and Falco. I like that. That's an interesting transition because he talks about Aaron's true motives. Then it shows 2 pictures of Aaron and Levi and Zeke, and then Zeke and Aaron is looking straight at us and Zeke's looking away. Splash. Looks like we've made it pretty far. We ran all night. Hey, take that armband off. People will see. So what? Regular citizens won't know what it means. Soldiers will, though. Just take it off already. No. Oh, no soldiers are walking around out here in the middle of nowhere. Well, if you leave it on, we'll get caught eventually. It's not like we have any idea of how to make it back to Marley. Of course we're not going back. I just want to find Zeke and ask him before I'm captured and killed. Why he betrayed us. Why he betrayed Marley. Why he'd do something like that. I don't care what you do. You don't have to follow me around. Is that so? Then I don't need your permission. I'll toss this thing out. Yeah, now you take some man-up steps. He should have been the one that was writhing and hit the guy just once. Instead of giving her a weapon. smacking the guy, crushing his skull. But he's a kid. He can't think necessarily that far ahead. I don't blame him. I'm just saying. Okay, give it back. What? Why? What is this thing going to do for you here? I'm a good Eldian. Without that, I'm no different from these island devils. She was taught that everyone on this side was a devil. So if she doesn't have that to identify her as not one of them, she's scared. That is the brainwashing. Have you gone crazy? Then just leave me alone. Why did you even bother following me? There's no reason for you to die too. What are you doing? It's so early. Where'd you come from? I don't want to say. We didn't like living at home. We finally managed to run away. So we can't go back now. Oh, you must be hungry then. You should come with me. My home's nearby. Snatch. Yeah, now you snatch the big rock out of her hand. At least he learned from... Zeke's betrayal destroyed her world. But she's still holding and clinging on to the reality that she was spoon-fed from birth, right? After investigating the remains of the Beast Titan, we did find parts of Zeke's exploded and fragmented body. But that's not enough. All we could find were limbs. He only pretended to die in order to deceive us. We believe that Zeke has allied with enemy forces on Paradis and escaped on their airship. If Peake's theory is correct, Zeke had been planning his raid on Marley for over 4 years. He was putting together a team of co-conspirators while inside the Marleyan military. Wow, Peake is like peak, you know? Peak. Sorry. She's smart. That's what I'm trying to say. This modified anti-personnel vertical maneuvering equipment uses Marleyan technology. And the airship they stole for their escape required military training to pilot at that high degree of proficiency. He must have snuck them onto the survey ship to Paradis 4 years ago. His comrades in the Eldian Restorationists. God damn it. We've fought together for so long. To think he was a traitor. Of course, we're not going to let this end here. After the attack on Marley, the dignitaries and newspaper reporters from around the world went on to speak of the thread. That was a spelling error. Threat posed by Paradis. Once again, I don't know if I said this 2 weeks ago or my last video, like 2 videos ago or my last video. But this reminds me of... No, I think I said it live one time. The part in Inglourious Basterds where they kill everyone in the platoon except one guy. Because if people find out the platoon is dead and they just said, okay, well, you know, they were dead, that's one thing. But if they send a guy to tell them of the horrors of how they died, that creates a sense of urgency. That is a different way. Even if you do something bad, when you have scared, what do you call a person that has seen something bad? Not victims. I don't know what the word is, but when you have people that are scared and were witnesses of what you did, that won't just be like a story that gets told like, oh, this happened. It will be like, oh my God, you have to be careful of this and that and blah, 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 blah. All major nations came together in the blink of an eye. So what they needed all this time was, they needed time. And then they might have had time. I strongly believe they would have had a lot of time had they went about things differently and been more on a defense than an offense. But then they went full out offense, murder, blood, skull crushing, ports exploded. Now it's like in a blink of an eye. He took away all the time that they had. But yeah, he feels he specifically and and Zeke didn't have time. So that was more what it was about. Not just us Eldians have to do things now. It's like, I won't have my power for very long. So, yeah. Just like Willie Tybur asked the world to do that day. We're not just going to wait until Zeke's term is up. A global military alliance will conduct a scorched earth campaign against Paradis within the next 6 months. If Willie had just told them to unite and they would have been like, oh, yes, you're so right, Willie. They would have gone home, talked to their people. There wouldn't have been nothing to really fear. There would just have been, Willie's good speech. And then they would have come together and they had to procure funds and rearrange some military and get people together. And some people might have changed their minds and been like, you know what? We have to fight this country next to us before we can do Paradis, because they're a threat, but we haven't heard from them. Just the speech from 3 years ago, I'm not too worried right now, but we'll help you. But then they might have had more time. But then after seeing what they saw, it was now. So then 6 months, they out of fear, they forced themselves to do it in 6 months. Is that how long we'll have to wait to rescue Falco and Gabi? Wait for the allied forces to gather. If Marley attacks Paradis on its own, we're only going to be fought off the way we were before. Zeke must be thinking the same thing, that the Marleyan army won't move to attack immediately after taking such a massive blow. The rest of the world didn't like Marley. They wouldn't have so easily come together if it wasn't for that whole thing. Some people might have, but now it's like the whole world. Boom. Once again, though, it's not every person in the world. Just because, like right now, our government, the ANC, is the people who are in control of South Africa, right? I don't really know what ANC stands for. Let me just Google. What does ANC stand for? African National Congress. Okay, so right now, the ANC, the people in control of our world, people who I didn't vote for, but who others voted for, they are aligning themselves with Russia and China, right? And that's not the best thing to do right now, considering what's going on with Russia. But they're aligning themselves, probably. I've heard people talk about this theory. One, debt. We have a lot of debt. We don't even own ourselves anymore. They own us. And also, during apartheid time, like, I don't know, Russia fought for the ANC and helped them gain power, overthrow that government from that time. So now it's like the ANC kind of owes them. So now, just because my country is like doing war, they're running through, what did they do recently? War simulations or something. They're helping them with these war simulations. Just because our current leaders, our country's leaders, are deciding to align themselves technically with Russia and China and stuff. Now that means the whole of South Africa is just now aligned with. In the same way, just because those world leaders who were there listening to Willie and being like, oh, Willie, my friend, yes, I understand, I agree, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean every person in the freaking world, in every country, is like, yes, that's the government I chose. I agree with you, government. We should blah, 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 blah. Every country in this world, in Attack on Titan, yes, the threat of Eldians were, from 100 years ago, affected the world. It helped the world in many ways because of the roads that were built, and they benefit in many ways from, they benefit currently from the large steps that were taken by the Titans, but that doesn't make what they did right. But they can't go back and change it. So right now, despite what the Titans built and how the world is currently shaped, each country has its own issues. And Marley using the Titan power is one of those issues, right? But now they're all united under Marley, even though Marley wasn't Marley also disliked because of what they were using? But every country has its own issues and shit. People trying to be fed, poverty, the gap between the poor and the rich. Like, the majority of people, me for example, we know about wars going on all over the world, not just the most recent one. Hasn't Yemen also been part of a war for like forever? There's been many different wars over the last 20, 30 years. And we know about them, but we don't get involved with them because we have our own lives. You know, we have to survive. We have to feed our own kids. Our country has its own problems, poverty and whatnot. So those countries keep also being taken advantage of by some other countries because they're benefiting from that war. So my point is, to unite the world is not as easy as people think. But Aaron gave it to them on a silver platter. Aaron made Willie's speech a nice speech that you remember from 3 years ago, that we're gonna that there is a threat and we're gonna do that. Aaron's actions made it real. That's how you unite people, with a fucking monster and a Colossus Titan. And that's what I'm thinking. Especially with that speech he had with Pixis, he's making himself the scapegoat. I can't understand any other reason why he would be doing what he's doing. Doesn't make sense. Zeke must be thinking the same thing, that the Marleyan army won't move to attack immediately after taking such a massive blow. And he's not the kind of person who's just going to wait around with no plan until he's crushed 6 months later. So you think Zeke is plotting something right now? Sorry. I keep touching it because I can't put it in my mouth too long. It's too strong. He must have a plan in mind. And if we want to snuff that plan out, we can't wait for the Global Alliance to be ready. We need to launch a surprise attack on Paradis. Go Reiner. Go Reiner. I'm so sad before when he was so like dead on the inside, and now he mainly wants to save Gabi and Falco, I think so. What did she say? Okay, so now I'm thinking. It is past 1 a.m. So we did 107 and 108 in 2.5 hours. Can I just say to everyone who is just hanging out with me and still listening and reading along, even if you're kind of half doing it while doing something else, I really appreciate that, because with all this talking that I'm doing, I don't think that many people will ever hear these conversations. And they're so interesting to me. But now I'm 2 chapters behind of where I was supposed to be. On Valentine's Day, I'm watching 4 episodes of Blue Lock. Maybe we can read 2 chapters there. Technically, I just need to read 1 chapter, but I'd probably end up doing 2. I've been meaning to read Attack on Titan manga, so this was great. Your commentary makes it even more interesting. What I like is that in these manga read-alongs, because we are such a small group, it's more easy to have these conversations. Like, I learned things that I wasn't aware of about real-world history, and like we get to have that kind of back and forth. Whereas it's very difficult to do that with the anime, because I'm reacting, how I feel in that moment, and then people who have already decided how they feel, if I don't feel the same, they're angry, and then they comment angrily, and then I read their angry comment, and then I reply angrily, and then it's like, it's not very constructive. So I like these kinds of, you must really love us. I mean, I have to do this, I have to finish. I've made it this far. So I'm going to be streaming at 7 p.m. on February 14th. I'll do Valentine's Day during the day, and then we can do Valentine's Night, which used to be Naruto tradition, but now we're gonna do Blue Lock, 4 episodes. And then I guess Attack on Titan, because I'm behind. So I'll try to do Attack on Titan manga. I just need to do 109 and 109 and 110. And if I can do that, I'm up to date. Then I can adjust the rest and it should work out. What plans does Hanku have for Valentine's Day? So romantic. No, Naruto is just as romantic. No, we don't have plans. He asked me today what I want to do something, and then I said maybe we can just do a picnic in our garden, because we've lived here now for, when did we move here? We've lived here now for 7 or 8 months. This is maybe the 8th month, and we haven't had a picnic in our garden, so we could get picnic stuff and just, because that would be nice for me. The weather just has to be nice, so we could just have our own kind of, because then the cats would be with us, and that's nice. So I don't really need to do something for Valentine's Day that's special, because I only work in the evening, so during the day I often have time to go out and play Pokemon Go or go out for lunch, brunch or whatever. So to me, it's like every week there's 1 or 2 times that I can do something special. I don't really need Valentine's Day for that. So, have you seen Naruto the Lost movie? Yes. We have to at least listen to a Naruto OP/ED at some point to keep the tradition going. We can start the stream with "We are fighting 3 months." Da, na, 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 na. Please remind me, that's a good idea. You should do something special. People that wait for Valentine's Day to do it are weak. You should always, yeah, I agree. Not weak, but maybe just busy. But I think once a month you need to do something special, not just once a year. That's ridiculous. But you can do once a month something small if you're 2 busy people, both with a full-time job. You can do make time once a month to go on a big date night, but not like. But then on Valentine's Day, if you're 2 busy people that don't really get to see each other on the average a lot, Valentine's Day could be that big thing, like going on a weekend trip or something. Because like that for me is, if Hanku asked me, let's go away for a weekend for Valentine's Day, that would be really difficult for me to say yes to, because I don't like going away for a weekend. Valentine's Day is so commercialized now, like almost every other holiday. Yeah, there's a very strong commercial aspect to it, but you can make it nice. Like how, in Japan they have the white day and the Valentine's Day where the girl gives the guy, and then the white day a week or 2 later where the guys give the girls. Like, that to me seems so nice and sweet in Japan, where they make their own chocolates, and you can make it your own. Just don't get swept away by the commercialized aspect. Valentine's night should at least have euphoria reaction. No. You are turbo overtime, not full-time boy. Okay, so I'll see you guys then again tomorrow night. Let me end the video first, the Attack on Titan video. Thank you for listening if you did. I appreciate it a lot, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.